Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're a focused learner who's really looking to level up, you are in exactly the right place today. We're breaking down this fascinating source that promises something honestly pretty huge: 7 straightforward habits that'll change your life forever. And look, we aren't talking about some distant changes that'll happen years from now after decades of grueling work. No, we're talking about transformations that literally begin the moment you decide to start. Because as the source actually points out, breaking a routine, it doesn't take 21 days like that old myth says. It actually starts with the very next choice you make. Which brings up a really fascinating question. What if just 7 simple habits could completely change your life? I know, it sounds almost too easy, doesn't it? But as we dive into this material, you'll see that the most profound changes, they almost always stem from the simplest daily actions. So we're going to walk through each of these habits one by one and map out the mechanics behind why they work so well. Oh, and I want to share a little secret with you. So I'm actually going to hold back on habit number 7 until the very end. It's this foundational habit that the most successful people on the planet absolutely never, ever skip. You'll want to stick around for that one. All right, let's lay the foundation. Habit 1 is all about your morning. Wake up with a purpose, and this is a big one: absolutely no phones allowed. The source is super adamant about this, and it's because of what happens neurologically when you immediately reach for a screen. Think about it. Checking your inbox or scrolling social media right when you wake up instantly puts your brain into a reactive state. You're basically flooding your system with other people's emergencies and crazy algorithms before you've even had a chance to stretch or, just plan out your own day. Taking those first 10 or 15 minutes entirely for yourself, it protects your mental space and lets you decide how the day is going to go. Or, as the source puts it, a strong morning creates a strong life. By taking control of those first few minutes, you aren't just managing your time. You're actively telling your brain that your personal growth is the baseline for the rest of the day. You're shifting from playing defense to playing offense. When you dictate the mood of the morning, rather than just letting the outside world dictate it for you, you build this sort of psychological armor, and that makes it so much harder for those inevitable afternoon stresses to derail your focus. Moving on, habit 2 is to read every day. But the magic number here? It's just 10. 10 pages. Now, I know that sounds almost too easy to make a real difference, but let's do the math here. 10 pages a day is roughly a book a month, which means 12 books a year. That is a massive, compounded shortcut to wisdom. I mean, books literally distill decades of someone else's hard-earned experience into just a few hours of reading. By committing to just 10 pages daily, you're constantly feeding your brain new frameworks, and better yet, you're avoiding the painful mistakes that other people have already written about. And all that mental momentum builds directly into habit 3: exercise regularly. But hey, don't worry, you don't need to live at the gym. The absolute sweet spot is just 20 to 30 minutes. The source highlights that your body is, without a doubt, your greatest asset. And this short burst of daily activity, it acts like a physical reset button. Moving your body for just half an hour helps flush out that stress hormone, cortisol, and really boost your endorphins. It elevates your energy, clears out the mental fog, and just completely fortifies your overall health. It's a tiny daily physical investment, but it yields an absolutely massive return on your cognitive function. Which brings us to a bit of a tough reality check with habit 4. Stop wasting time. It's that constant everyday battle, right? The endless numbing scroll versus engaging in truly meaningful work. It is just so incredibly easy to lose a whole hour to an app without even realizing it. But the source offers a pretty sobering perspective here. Time is your only truly non-renewable resource. Every single hour you waste mindlessly consuming content today is an opportunity you will never, ever get back. You have to actively reduce the friction to do the hard stuff and intentionally shift your focus toward what actually moves the needle in your life. So once you've reclaimed all that wasted time, what exactly should you do with it? Well, habit 5 is to learn a new skill. The most successful people out there view their minds kind of like software that constantly needs an update, rather than, just a fixed asset they left behind in a classroom years ago. The landscape of the world is changing so rapidly right now, and just resting on your current knowledge is a really quick way to become obsolete. Mastering even just one single new skill can completely alter the trajectory of your future. It can open doors you literally didn't even know existed. Now, if you're wondering where exactly to invest that newly reclaimed time, the source provides some incredibly high-yield areas. You could focus on improving your communication. Honestly, that's arguably the ultimate multiplier. It amplifies the effectiveness of every other skill you have. Or you could learn coding, which completely changes the way you approach logic and problem solving. You might study business fundamentals to understand how value is actually created in the world. Or hey, you could even learn a completely new language to open up entirely new networks and cultures. The key here is just to pick one that excites you and dedicate a fraction of your day to it. Okay, habit 6 relies on a harsh but totally necessary truth. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency creates results. Let's just be real for a second. You aren't going to wake up fired up and ready to conquer the world every single day. Some days, you won't even want to look at those 10 pages of a book. Motivation is a super fickle feeling, but extraordinary success, it doesn't come from massive, exhausting leaps forward on the days you happen to feel great. No, it comes from small, deliberate actions repeated every single day. It's about relying on your discipline to carry you through when that initial motivation inevitably fades.
All right, so we've covered 6 incredibly powerful habits so far. We've explored the psychology of intentional mornings, the compounding math of reading, the physiology of daily exercise, the reality of time management, the absolute necessity of skill building, and that unglamorous truth about consistency. But what is habit number 7? What is that ultimate, highly anticipated secret that shapes your entire mindset and acts as the glue for literally everything else we've just discussed?
Well, here it is. Habit 7, surround yourself with positive people. The absolute, undeniable truth of the matter is that the people around you directly influence who you become. You've probably heard that concept, right? That you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? Well, the source material heavily backs this up. The people around you shape your baseline standards. They influence your daily habits, and ultimately, they shape your reality. You simply cannot build a positive, highly successful life if you are constantly anchored down by a circle of negativity and stagnation. You just can't. So you need to be incredibly intentional about your inner circle. Basically, you're looking for a triad of traits in the people you spend your time with. First off, you need people who actively inspire you to aim higher just by being around them. Second, you need folks who will genuinely support you when things get difficult and you stumble, because let's face it, you will. And third, you need people who aren't afraid to challenge you to become a better version of yourself. If your current circle doesn't have these 3 traits, your biggest priority should be seeking out the people who do. When we bring this all together, the equation for success becomes incredibly clear, doesn't it? It equals small things done every single day. And really, this is the core philosophy of everything we've unpacked in this explainer today. Success isn't about pulling off one monumental, superhuman feat that drains all your energy. It is completely accessible to you right now because it's simply about managing your daily habits. It's waking up proactively, reading a few pages, moving your body, guarding your precious time, updating your skills, and, crucially, doing it all alongside the right people. Start with just one habit today, and your future self will thank you. Please don't try to overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. That is a guaranteed recipe for burnout. Just pick one. Pick just one of the habits we covered today. Master it, and then stack the next one right on top of it. Hey, if you found this explainer valuable, maybe share it with someone in your new positive circle. And I'll leave you with this one final thought. Which single habit will you execute today? Or are you willing to let tomorrow look exactly like yesterday?